I mean, there has been a lot, but not every player in the LCK has done one, so that is definitely lacking.
So what's your theory?
We'll need to work on it.
I want to hear about.
Yeah, so my theory, as far as draft in FEARX is concerned, is it's looking, in the LCK especially, like the blue side team is the team that gets to dictate their archetype, right?
Yeah.
And so in game one, we had, we're going to play the Scion comp. Do something about it, right? And there's quite a few of these, like the Taliyah compositions that we've seen coming around. We've seen, you know, these poppy comps, these more like dive-oriented comps, and it's about the red side team being able to counteract these, not necessarily putting together their own composition. That's what I feel like the LCK has done, because the cohesion on red side seems to be far lower.
I do tend to agree. I think the type of draft you could look for here for BNK now is either some type of single target, blow up pick comp, like first picking Taliyah if it's not banned in this final spot, or you could play through global if you want to lock the Pantheon, but the Taliyah will go over to Zeka if you do that. That's one of the weaknesses of blue side when you're trying to juggle all these things. And I think Taliyah could be banned in this final spot, then Raptor takes Pantheon, and what Daystar plays with that is really anyone's guess. So there's the Taliyah. I think the Pantheon goes over now. If we see something like a first pick of Fury, I'm a little bit concerned. If you pick Gwen here, though, Zeus just plays Jace into it and laughs at you, I feel like, is what I'm most concerned about.
Yeah, that has happened. He can also play Kennen and also laugh. That happens as well.
Ooh, if you pick Riven, though, he would just laugh in general.
Oh, that's
And then
true.
he'd be really jealous, and that might affect his play.
Hey, and I think Riven's in an okay spot at the moment, because I know Rival went on a really huge win streak on the champion and got back to Grandmaster, so maybe there's something there. I'm not entirely sure. Wukong going to be the first pick, though.
This is very flexible, as very strong engage, really strong peel. Zeus is going to say, I'm very happy to play Gwen, even into potentially Sobero's Jace, and they get the Pantheon, so they have a strong side lane global comp. So, like, red side gets to dictate the comp now.
Yeah, we've taken tempo back in this draft, perhaps.
They just went for something that's a little bit too catch-all in this Wukong pick, in my opinion.
I mean, it is very good with the Rumble that was given up, and this is actually a pick that escaped my notice, I think largely because we saw Poppy, Yone, and Silas banned away on the blue side, which leaves a lot of things that are kind of must bans to be taken away. The Rumble certainly has been one of those. This is a really strong core to start it off with BNK.
I thought with the Poppy ban, if they were going to pull a support up early here, it might have been the Rakan, because Rakan Wukong has been such a deadly combo.
Yeah.
I think Alistar's...
And it's Kellen.
Alistar's super good, obviously, right now, and Kellen has had some great Alistar performances, you know, depending on which year and which tournament we're talking about, but right now I'm feeling pretty good about his Alistar. And you know, this is going to give you a lot of laning power, though, for Hanwha Life Esports in that bottom 2v2 because of the Alistar lock-in. I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. I feel like Alistar players have really improved at, you know, holding the level 1 and playing into level 2 and you know, dealing with mitigating that pressure in the early laning phase, but Victor is just going to be the pick that comes through here for Hanwha Life Esports. A ton of scaling AP damage in this draft. A lot of side lane pressure with the Gwen that can be shadowed by Peanut very easily. See what the 80 carries are going to be looking like here is, I think, for the side of BNK, you really just want to try to protect this bottom 2v2 matchup.
Yep. You can also just get rid of the mid laners here that Zeka does not want to deal with. Of course, knows that the Akali can have a decent time into this one, as he has played that one before. And I think you're right. I think it should be 80 carries or supports that are going to be taken away, as the Rakan going to be the first one.
Kind of makes sense. I wonder if Daystar has something crazy planned with this Alistar lock-in here, where it's like, oh, you can't play Akali, but I'm planning on playing Smolder mid anyways. Because I feel like with a draft like this, Genji would be like, well, we play Corki here, but I'm like, I don't see that for BNK, unfortunately.
But what if they kept on like the animal theme, you know, monkeys and cows and crocodiles, perhaps? Mid lane Renekton. That's what I want. I don't think that'd do very well into Victor.
No, I don't think it'll.
Yeah, never mind.
I don't think it'll happen. The Varus is banned already by FEARX. Perhaps they. I mean, this Senna yeah. And Jhin, and also Ezreal, I feel like are all really strong here. And we'll see what
they
Viper
need a
decides.
lot of physical damage.
Yeah, but I also think that with the amount of AoE and strong AP damage they have in longer fights too, like even if they have something like an Ezreal, it's good enough damage-wise here, as we're just going to potentially see a Shen lock into over-index into that Gwen side lane pressure. I do think Hanwha Life Esports will be looking for the grubs in this one with the comp they've put together, where the Squen is going to be demolishing turrets.
Oh, and it's
if
also
you try
like,
to diver or Punisher, there's just 2 globals to protect.
And we were discussing this, right, in the last game. Like, how did HLE win? Well, it wasn't off just playing better in skirmishes, because I felt like that went kind of even. It was the fact that Hanwha Life were always at the objective first. They were always dictating where they were fighting and when they were fighting, right? Now they can cheat tempo with like 2 different champions here, with the Grand Starfall and the Stand United. This is a composition that really plays into the strength that was capitalizing on a weakness that they found in BNK. But this is a rounding out of this draft that looks absolutely gorgeous. As far as like dive comps are concerned, that is exactly what you want to be putting together. The classic Kai'Sa versus Xayah is going to be the response here. But it's not necessarily a winning lane there towards the bottom side, although we'll do fine into Kai'Sa and the Alistar.
I really think that Hanwha have the better draft here, and they have a lot more pressure they can put on, and they're just a better map like this. Is going to be really hard to play into. I think it's going to have to be some brute force and some excellent shot calling for BNK if this one's going to 3.
Yep, I would agree. I do think that once they get the team fight they're looking for, it kind of plays itself out. It works beautifully with the bouncy castle that's on fire, but they're going to have to get to that point and play around HLE. Let's dive into the Rift, Game 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the second game of the series. HLE looking to close this one out, their final regular season game before Road to MSI. Second place is locked for this squad, so they will be facing off against Gen G. That will be after we get through the first few rounds, though, to see who the opposition is going to be for T1, who are waiting in third place.
Yep, a little bit of a gauntlet.
Oh yeah, we love gauntlets here in the LCK. We had to say goodbye to it for a little while, but it's back. It feels fantastic. Man, well, like,
for that.
It's so good, man, because World's Gauntlet was just some of the best moments that we've had here in the LCK. It's so good that we've got at least another kind of World's Gauntlet here.
Yeah, I mean, everyone remembers DRX's story.
HLE's story as well, from like rags to riches, you know? Off the back of Lord Morgan. Oh, beautiful times.
I honestly, I was pretty excited about the new format for this year. Like, I felt like it was a lot of great changes. There were some parts we weren't sure about, like how it's going to feel to have 2 separated groups, and we're not there yet, so I can't judge that part just yet. But I feel like the pacing of the year with LCK Cup, First Stand, feels like at this point of the year, we have so many more storylines already than we normally would have by the time spring finals roll around,
Yeah. Not to mention Kesper Cup came back as well. Like, there's stories coming from everywhere. Even the bro fans are eating good, because they can always go back and say, yeah, but we're Kesper Cup champions.
And it does make me wonder, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but it makes me wonder that if the new format has encouraged teams to be a little bit more swappy with their players, a little bit more call-ups. As level 2 gets hit here.
Oh dear. That is an immediate cleanse out from Diablo as Viper is pulling feathers around. Still, Delight now taking a lot of damage. The Ignite is ticking. Throws his onto Diablo in response though. So decent health trades as Viper is still very healthy and does still have control of the wave.
This is the best Kai'Sa skin, by the way.
I mean, this is the one. This is the Kai'Sa skin.
When I see Delight eat the full Invictus Gaming, I'm like, ooh, Diablo knows.
No, you can't get fully IG'd. That is not the way.
Only KT can. As this early lane phase for Daystar is supposed to be tough, but I think it's really Zeka actually just playing incredibly well and generating a massive lead. As talked about the Galio being kind of a tricky one. His buttons, they're pretty easy to press, but you have to know when to press them, but also playing into a champion like Victor, the melee into range situation can be a little bit tough against someone who's so experienced and so lane dominant like Zeka, as you can see here.
Yeah, and I feel like we've seen the Galio Victor matchup before, and it didn't look like this, and then I'm trying to remember, like, was it just that I was watching Chovy play it? And it really does warp things. That guy just, matchups are different when you're talking about Chovy in comparison to everyone else, and that is not a slight to Daystar. No, that is me being annoyed at Chovy. As okay, Peanut is going to find Raptor here. Warrior Trickster does make getting the stun off quite difficult. Yeah, I don't think Peanut really wants to do anything. Okay, we'll be able to find at least that one.
If he could stack his Q fully and then go into that kind of situation, it's hard to win the smite fight because he just Q smites it, but not going to happen. He had no stacks. Looks for the trade there, but Raptor just calls his bluff and takes the scuttle anyways.
Yep.
Well played by Raptor. But yeah, it is wild. Like, same thing with Zeus on that Sion game we just watched, you know, where you're like, not sure if he's supposed to be winning this hard, but he definitely is.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Sion is an example of a champion that is just a little bit good at the moment. As, all right, Peanut is going to come up and push Raptor away. You could sense that there was a bit of a dive of Bruin. As, all right, Raptor is just going to push him away from this.
Yeah, he gets away his stacks as well. Now they could look for the turn.
Yep, there is the exhaust onto Sobro. He's taking a lot of damage, and there's the stun onto Raptor. He is going to be able to get first blood, but it's traded immediately. And still actually works out, right?
Yeah.
Assist on both sides, and so BNK FEARX kind of all right with it, but
No,
still
100%.
could have been worse.
Could have been worse for sure. The fact that it's a kill over to the Gwen feels good, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's still a lot of money for Wukong. Zeus took exhaust, which you can see in action here, which actually gives him just enough space to get away from Sobro over that last turret shot. And as soon as Raptor has to commit his flash in, does get taken out right afterwards. At least he was able to react quickly enough there and make the right decision. Yep, he's experienced enough now to know how to play those out. So ends up being a pretty even trade, and as the dust settles, not a huge advantage either way.
Yep, and the fact that Sobro took like almost lethal damage from that turret as well meant that the advantage wasn't there for him being left alive towards the end. I do want to go back to the Galio point though, because Zeka actually played this more recently. Yundo just mentioned in our teleprompter, and did manage to get a W on the Galio into the Victor matchup.
Yeah, I mean,
so he's another example of one of our Galios that has been able to make it work. And of course, it's still very early in this game. You can see Daystar's a couple of waves behind and is taking a full Arcane Storm to the head as we're watching it.
yeah, this is not an advantage you're going to feel good about. It's not like you're like, oh, okay, well, he's using
the matchup has not yet turned around.
No. I have level 6 now. Wait, that's not going to be very helpful. Here is it. Yeah, I do think that like Zeka has that moniker of Super Soldier for a ton of different champions, most of them melee, but I think of Galio most actually when I think of the Super Soldier moniker that he holds, because he's just so good at that pick as well. Big brawly. Yep. You know, anti-mages. We're gonna repeat the dive here. Zeus does not have level 6, but he's very close to it. There's a big wave. He might be able to get it, and that might just end this whole situation.
Well, Peanut is just going to throw a Q into Raptor. Does stun him up for a few moments. As Headbutt Pole here from Kellen gets in and knocks both of them up. The response isn't exactly massive, so Viper is able to get feathers all over the ground. Diablo just not able to get in range. One of the issues of good old Kai'Sa is some of those can we hit them ranges.
Yeah, Viper also has barrier. Diablo took cleanse, so I think extending the play there would not have been the right call. Cerberus angrily staring Zeus down before he looks for the harpoon.
Oh no!
The harpoon, right?
Yeah,
no?
still took turret shot, and Zeus doesn't actually go home. As of course, wanted to cancel that anyway. Another wave is going to be crashing towards this turret. Did want to deny the plate, as you can see, Delight moving towards the top side, very close to level 6, but doesn't quite have it yet.
If he gets level 6 here on the defense of the top side, then he could rejoin Viper on the bottom side, but they were really giving this a lot of thought about how they wanted to play the lane situation. It actually just cost Viper a whole wave. He doesn't go top side, doesn't catch this wave in the bottom side, and that's also going to be Peanut starting up this dragon at the moment, but I feel like BNK got a lot of tempo out of this. Grub spawn in 30 seconds, and Delight is up here.
Oh dear. Cerberus taking a lot of damage here, as Delight is able to taunt him up. Zeus doesn't get there in time though. They are just going to deal with the wave. Raptor comes on over though, and will look to stop this dragon.
I don't really like this setup for Hanwha. Not using their Peanut Global very well here. Now he's just going to get chased down.
Yeah, you've got now Viper moving up. Doesn't have his Featherstorm available, so I don't know whether they want to fight this. And exactly right, that is indeed. Thanks for the leash.
Delight had 6 prior to this, and they were able to make a play faster on the top side. Then he could have ulted Peanut and maybe made a play there with Zeka rotating over, but instead they kind of put their global on where BNK were going to come and suss that out. So Peanut's global means nothing because he's the one.
Oh dear. Equalizer is going to go down. Let's see whether Cerberus can stay alive in this. Oh, the stands united. The flash forward. And that is another kill onto Cerberus here. Delight helping out his top laner. Gwen Shen is, you know, it kind of rhymes, and also it's kind of deadly.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about in the draft. It gives me the feeling that Hanwha Life have such an edge here. But now, BNK rotating over. Diablo also coming up right now through the mid lane. And these grubs are what they're looking to take here. Delight, now ultless, has backed. Peanut's the target.
Yeah, Raptor comes on over. There is the heroic entrance there as well. The knockups! He was just unable to do anything forever.
Yeah, I feel like Hanwha Life kind of messed up this early game a little bit here, and they're getting punished. BNK, a team that will punish you. You know, if you end up giving them an edge, they will take the push beyond the grubs and actually look for Peanut in moments like this. And Viper is caught up in CS, but he was significantly down because of the indecisiveness about how they were going to play that Shen play. He still ultimately got his ult off and got it killed to Zeus, but they're losing so much for this. The objective now in control of BNK.
Yeah, I think Raptor is just going to be okay with one. Grand Starfall available, and Delight was rotating up, so not going to bite off more than they can chew. I think an intelligent decision. It hasn't given them a gold lead. It hasn't been able to create any, marked advantages here around the map, but we've seen what BNK's composition can do. And this is the thing, if they do manage to get their ducks in a row, force HLE into an awkward position where they're stacked up, they can keep them in the sky forever, just barbecuing.
Sobero had TP, and he was landing into Viper, and I feel like if they really wanted to force the issue on triple grubs there, they certainly could have, but they didn't. And part of the reason why is because they kill Peanut here, but in order to do so, they have to use a lot of tools, right? They use the Wukong ultimate, they use the Galio ultimate here, so looking for a big brawly fight after this is a great snipe from Diablo to secure the kill, by the way. Using all those ultimates means that taking that fight afterwards is a little bit trickier, even though they did have the Rumble teleport. He didn't have ultimate, so they just decided to back away and cut their losses there. Denying one grub from this Gwen doesn't feel like it's a huge win, but it's a small victory because of the side lane power we've been talking so much about with double globals to protect. So Zeus already has that initial kill, and he's going to become a bigger and bigger problem as the game goes on.
Yep. Speaking of, okay, he is going to just exhaust Sobero once again, and Peanut comes on over. If the other global isn't on cooldown, you just get the other one, and then you kill him again.
They might be able to do it in a few moments here when Delight gets his ult back up.
And then Sobero may leave the game, and I wouldn't blame him.
This is the kind of stuff with Gwen where you just see this lineup for Hanwha Life and you're like, well, how do you stop that? Galio doesn't have ult, and even if he did, he would have just been able to mitigate a little bit there, but wasn't going to win you the play. Then mid prio goes to Zeka. Hanwha Life are just always going to be in control of these types of paces. Like, they can dictate them, they can force these proactive plays, and BNK always have to be on the defensive, unfortunately. Even though they had that great play on the Peanut when Hanwha made a bit of a mistake moments before, they're right back in the driver's seat now.
Yep. And all the while, right, if they go for these side lane plays, they've then got Victor that can play pretty defensively, and they've also got a champion that can go untargetable in the bottom lane that can continue to farm safely as well. So I think that they can feel free to utilize their globals to get this Gwen as fed as possible, and we know that that is a win condition. Even if Gwen goes 0-3, we've seen her turn games around and win. As Peanut is looking for Daystar here, the Justice Punch is going to get him out to relative safety, and Raptor is waiting down there as well. So the Gargoyle will survive. 1 minute until the Dragon, 3 until the Rift Herald.
I mean, it's crazy when you mentioned the Viper can go untargetable with the Xayah ultimate. They also have Pantheon. They also have Gwen.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating to play out team fights. Like, it's much easier for Hanwha Life, especially when they can just point and click stun somebody with Peanut from a million miles away and kill a Rumble. And, he doesn't have his ultimate right now. He's on the bottom side of the map. Sobero knows this. They're going to try to push the advantage here. They're after coming up. They're going to repeat the play from earlier.
All right, 3 might be enough here. Snip on cooldown does put up the circle, does have the needlework, so might be able to survive for quite some time. Stance United does come in. There's a taunt under the turret as well. Zeus takes so long to die. And Kellen, he's got an unbreakable will. That will allow him to live. And they do get their prize. It's a big investment, though.
And Peanut doesn't have ult. They used this timing really well. Even though Delight had his ultimate there, they also rotated Diablo up. There's just too much damage. And for Viper, he's going to be able to get a plate here in the mid lane, but it's traded for Diablo's plate that he also takes here in topside on top of it, so he's not even really generating a big advantage here as Diablo is going to see Delight. That's going to annoy Delight and cause him to back. And Zeka has TP, or sorry, not Zeka, Daystar has TP, so he can go back to the bottom lane and catch that wave there. This is just a great play overall on the map here for BNK. There's nothing cross-map here to be taken in return, so Delight opts to ult in here. Kellen's ultimate, while he tanks this turret, just buys so much space.
Oh, Sobero, I think, might be dead again as the Featherstorm is going to clear that one out, but it's a great pulverize from Kellen. Blade Caller comes through, though, and unfortunately it's not quite enough. Diablo gets in on top, looks for Viper, who's still at 200 health, still moving forward, knows that they don't have much of an engage left. And HLE, they'll be able to take 2 for the price of nothing.
Yeah, it looks like, I'm not 100% sure how that all started off, we'll see in the replay, but looks like they were the ones trying to make a play happen and just got countered there by Viper, Peanut rotating over. Peanut had his ultimate available as well, and that's going to be a turret in exchange here on the play. So an attempted aggressive play from BNK backfires, leads to a turret plus Dragon here for Hanwha Life.
That is like catastrophic as far as what they lose off the back of that one play, though.
Yeah, they're chasing Viper. This is kind of what I suspected is how things start up. Viper gets the root, Peanut just goes in for the follow-up stun, and then the ultimate used offensively here makes Raptor feel like, okay, maybe there's something here. Kellen's going in, but Viper just kites it out. Peanut's Q damage is insane, and Viper's spacing here is so good that Diablo just can't quite finish him off there. It's so close. But flashing for it would have just cost him his life and his flash, so he has to just sadly walk away. Give a turret, give a dragon, give kills.
And they get feats of strength off the back of that. They would have been very close to getting it regardless, but they still get the top lane out of turret at the same time. Oh man, this went from a relatively close game to now being completely in HLE's control.
Yeah, and like a 1-2-2 scoreline doesn't really tell the story of how powerful this Gwen is soon to become. You can see he has the biggest gold lead in the game here, but you give him just a second with turrets and they disappear and you can't stop him anymore. Like you just win, Peanut and Delight have their ultimates. Gwen can do whatever she wants and Zeus is just going to push the envelope every time. This is a risky call here, but they do have the faster group up. This may force said global ultimates.
Yeah, Teleport going to come in here as BNK, looking to try and take this one down. Grand Starfall does get Peanut in, but it's a great equalizer placement. Still Peanut gets the smite, Raptor goes in, and he's out again immediately, and so's Peanut. He's going to survive. The Featherstorm avoids the heroic entrance, and Daystar is stunned up as soon as he lands. No one dies, but HLE just steal BNK's lunch money.
Yeah, that was a really clean fight on both sides, but ultimately HLE still get the big prize. They still pick up the Rift Herald. It goes into the hands of Zeus, in fact, but he's the side lane champ. I don't think he's going to be too worried about it.
Nope.
And even though the Cyclone follow-up was good there, how the fight played out after that was super interesting because Daystar goes in. So watch this from the beginning here. See BNK trying to hold on to this. Peanut gets into smite range here. Equalizer actually kind of helps him secure this with the help of Zeus as well. And the Raptor ults and gets out of the fight, so he can't actually follow up. And then when the Galio comes through, Sobro's already used his ultimate. He's already overheated, so he can't offer any Q damage back. And Daystar just gets rooted, and he's like, I gotta get out of here. You know, I'm a melee champion trying to come into the fight and clean up late. It's never gonna happen into Xayah. Ultimate fantastic there from Viper. And Peanut for more.
Yeah, Kellen doesn't have his ultimate, so he is a little bit more killable than he'd otherwise be. Checking in on the bottom side here as there's a headbutt back onto Peanut. Can he survive, though? Does get a big old shield, and the answer's no. That is a lot of Acathian stuff thrown at him there. And so Diablo is able to help lock him down. He's 1-0-2. This Kaiser is starting to get stronger and stronger.
Cashed in a call. About to have his second item relatively soon.
Yep.
So these are win cons here still for BNK. If Hanwha Life play a little bit to, you know, highlight entertainment, as they've been known to do. As Kellen is the one who initially looks caught here, Peanut goes in for the chase, and unfortunately, you know, that's Alistair, so he just boops him back in, and Viper can't really offer any peel here. Doesn't have his ult, and yeah, that was overzealous to say the least there. Peanut was like, see champion, kill champion, question mark?
Oh, Delight might be his turn to be in a little bit of trouble here as the woes of HLE continue. He gets a bit of a shield as the Equalizer is going to help finish him off, and now Viper in an awkward spot. The Featherstorm is now on the ground, but he doesn't get a lot of value from the pullback as Raptor comes in, gets the double Cyclone and takes down the Xayah. Zeka is now a big problem, and so is Zeus. So the work isn't over yet. As 3 versus 3 here, Zeus just hunting them down. Possibly looking for stake first as he jumps out of the way of the monkey. There's the Justice Punch, though, as a heroic entrance does come down, and Zeka will finally join the fight and look to take them down. But it's Kellen with the Ignite, actually, that helps lock down that kill. And the block of the Justice Punch, oh no! Valdez's boy Daystar, that is not the time to mess it up, my friend.
Oh, the miss there, the big miss. Oh, it could have been so huge. Because everything else about that, it looked unwinnable. Like, it looked unplayable. Because initially you're like, oh, okay, we caught Delight, but Delight's caught Friends. This is a little bit concerning. He's taking a long time to die. Viper comes over, Peanut's got the blast cone. The Equalizer goes down here, but it's really only on to Peanut. And at this point, Diablo's like, okay, it has to be me. I have to carry this fight. Goes over the wall here, and then tries to offer what paltry damage he can. Of course, Zeka comes over to end his day. But in this moment, you're like, okay, how is it possible for this fight to be won? Because they have no damage. But what they do have is a lot of different types of CC here. And Daystar is going to try to play this at his best. Kellen also gets the knockups here at the perfect timing with Daystar's ult coming back through. They're able to isolate and kill Peanut. Kellen gets out. Zeus, so difficult to kill, and then this miss.
No, it was the block. Like, Zeka being able to stand in front there just saves Zeus's life and means that they win the team fight. So, beautifully done. Maybe, you know, Valdez's boy Daystar needs a little bit of defense from the fact that it was a good play.
It wasn't an amazing play for the rest. I mean, Kellen played that so well with Raptor too. Like, that was an almost unwinnable
this comp
fight.
is really good, too. So, B&K, see whether they can make it work, because they are all grouped up. Oh no, the Engage Herald. Grand Starfall to come down as well. Diablo is going to be the target here. How does he play Sion twice? It's Fearless. This is not fair. And Zeus is not even the one that's helping lock down these kills. Daystar is already dead. Raptor goes down as well. And B&K FEARX, I guess they had one good fight in him. And now it is all kind of done and dusted, as that one looked like they had run out of that said fight completely.
Well, that's a creative way to flank with Gwen. We've seen a new tech.
Oh, he wasn't playing Sion again. Oh, okay. All right, good. Well, at least he's not doing something illegal.
One of the trickiest things about playing Gwen oftentimes is because you're melee, you're trying to get on top of those targets, but you kind of have to run at them with your scissors. But if you're inside a Herald, you get to run at them really fast, and no one can stop you. It's kind of crazy.
Shelly's being used as like, is she moonlighting as like an Uber driver now as well? Because she's just taxiing HLE around the map today.
Yeah, I think it's she's playing both sides, doing Lyft and Uber.
Yeah.
Got like a cow taxi on the side.
Doing that thing where you're just like making sure that you have options.
Your car has like all the stickers on it.
Yep.
So this fight here is pretty broken up. And Zeus, remember, he had the Rift Herald. He had the eye, so he summons it and uses it here to then wrap around. Peanut cuts the fight in half, so Sobro can't really get in here. And now Diablo is just straight up out of the fight. And the equalizer here is blocked by a shield, and then it doesn't really have any impact. And everyone else is so split. Like, Diablo survives, but Sobro and he have to then push away and deal with the Herald.
We fighting again.
Doing it again.
Yeah, Diablo actually getting some decent damage onto Peanut here. Lands the Void Seeker. Does not decide to go in, and I'm pretty happy that that did happen. That would have been an overextension.
Man, I feel like B&K are playing super well. Like, I feel like they're hitting their ceiling, you know?
I mean, yeah, in some of these moments, until there is the catastrophic fail, and then the game just runs away from them. That's the really sad part. You're exactly right, Wolf, because in so many of these early moments, they were making HLE look silly. Like, there were these times where the bouncy castle was working, and then it's like one fight, and they lose like 2 turrets and an objective and like 3 kills, and the gold lead is just massive.
So many of these fights, if like the equalizer is just a little bit better, or if Diablo has a little bit more agency, even this far down on gold, it feels kind of playable. As Sobro is, he's in the side lane, it's illegal.
Yes, he's not allowed to be there. Viper is going to walk down the red carpet, but that's only because he's a famous guy. Never mind, he's actually a dead guy. As he does pull back some feathers, does manage to do a fair bit of damage there to Diablo, as now Peanut is in a lot of trouble. In goes Delight with the Stance United, but the heroic entrance is there to answer, and Zeus has found Diablo in the backline. Snip, snip goes the Gwen, and he's looking to take him down. The needlework is beautiful. He's crocheting them in the backline, as Kellen also going to be falling down. There's the Shadow Dash from Delight. And it's once again one of these fights where B&K, they find that angle, they take down their target that they're looking for, and then it goes catastrophically wrong.
Yeah, and then the really pet Gwen shows up and you're like, oh.
Yes.
And the target selection, you know, a little bit broken up there for B&K, but I mean, you got to look for these types of plays. Like, they basically set Sober up as a bait here. You see the Peanut ultimate come through, Viper's rotating over, but the rest of the team is here faster. And Sobro's equalizer here just buys some space for the rest of his team to come over, but he doesn't have it for the subsequent fight. And then look at the teleport here from Daystar. Comes in, this instantly uses, I mean, it instantly gets no value because he's Galio. He's like, I can't reach them, I can't taunt them. He's like, I'm here, but is he really here? And then he ults here on top, but the bigger problem is Zeus in the backline. The fight is split. He chases so far to the top side, trying to get something done with his ultimate, trying to set up a taunt, but isn't offering any peel for the bottom side of the fight, where his carries just get deleted, or carry, I should say, really, in this game.
Yeah.
As
And also, Kellen just couldn't get there.
Yeah, no,
He tried to walk there as lumbering over, but the hooves only go so fast, and so didn't get a lot of value this time around.
Hanwha Life just know these moments. Like, they've already thought about it 2 steps ahead. They just won't be caught by, too many people on the other side.
Oh god, 2 full levels. And I guess he does have Rod of Ages, but that means, like, that's 1 real level.
And then Otacon.
Yeah, and Otacon. Like, that's probably what did it. The level advantages are kind of absurd. Delight now level 11. As Kellen's moving over, he is going to get taunted up as he finds the ultimate button. Viper from over the wall. There's the equalizer that goes down, but it's not doing a whole lot of anything at all. Zeus goes golden. They might be able to take him down here, but instead he's just going to kill his fellow top laner. The Featherstorm comes down, and it's used offensively here by Viper as Peanut says, top of the morning to you, Mr. Cowman, and takes down Kellen once again. That's going to be the ace, and HLE. Yeah, this is an impossible one to win here for BNK. Unfortunately, HLE just going to march down the bottom lane.
Just not going to happen. I mean, they had so many angles. They have so many ways to lock people in place for the equalizer. The equalizer perfectly placed, but they still, I think, do almost as well as they like possibly could have. It's like, this is BNK's ceiling, I feel like, and Hanwha Life are just a tier above. They're a group above, right? And equalizer here, it just kind of whiffs. Like, if it's over everybody while you have the lineups and you have these CCs, then maybe this is winnable. Maybe Diablo gets that first kill. Maybe Viper has to ult a little bit faster, but with a big whiff of the ult like that, it's just simple math here. They are ahead, they have more items, and you have used your cooldowns. Goodbye.
Yeah.
They did not end the game off of it, but let's be honest, in terms of practical game scenarios, like, the game is ended off of that.
Yeah.
The Nexus is alive, technically.
I feel like, yeah, an 11,000 gold lead may be insurmountable. But that 3-map Pulverize is looking pretty good. The delivery of the Gargoyle there as well gets a couple of knockups, but the follow-up this time is not going to be there. Sobro holding on to the equalizer this time around, wants a better choke point to try and lock that one down, but the CC is not going to be up for the next little while as far as that Galio is concerned, as HLE look to defend this Baron.
And they had so many ults on cooldown, but now they're coming back. Viper's ult's almost back up. And that's the big one here.
Oh, Zeus is just going to face check this brush. I think he's going to be absolutely fine as in he goes. They look for the angle onto Raptor, who is just going to get over the wall but does die. That is going to be Peanut sniping him with a spear. Over the wall goes Zeus. His needlework is doing too much. Absolutely too much damage onto Diablo here as Zeka. He's going to follow up and look for another Q. That should be there. There it is. And it's another ace. Out of nowhere for HLE. No Baron required, I think, as they look to break the base.
They're just going to walk down and end this time around. The last time weren't quite able to finish off of, but this time they're right here with a wave of minions. Zeka with the question mark here, and BNK just getting obliterated by Hanwha Life Esports. In the one-sided series we expected, but I at least want to give BNK credit for making it a good old try, especially in the second game. It was better than I expected.
How easy is the Zeus POM though? Like, am I right? 7,000 gold ahead as they look to brawl a little bit more. That Featherstorm did a whole lot of work there for Viper as he grabs another 2. 12, 2, and 11 for the top laner of